So with that, I'm going to let Jim pick it up, and Coach, go ahead and take it up.
Thank you, Justin, so much. And just a little bit about Justin before I quickly move in. As Justin said, we met early on, and Justin, kind of moped into school as a 7th grader with his head down. And Justin had gone through some pretty tough adversity in his home. And as soon as, like you, as soon as you spot someone who's in need, you gravitate to them. And as a teacher and a coach and a leader, that's our job. And I gravitated to Justin and then saw something special that you hopefully see in him. That Justin was a young man who was willing to do whatever it took, willing to get in there and give his all-out effort for others. Justin became not the greatest player on our high school football team, not the best player, but the best player for the team. He was a team player as a youngster, and now today he continues his plight to try in his own way to change the world and change the lives of people who are facing adversity with the work he does with the Navy SEALs. I am proud to call him my friend, and even prouder to have him as a mentor. So again, he's a guy that walks around in and out. You might not know his full story. And today I hope that we will start to learn each other's stories. Because admiration and respect comes when I get to know you, and I get to know what you've been through. And then suddenly we become kindred souls. We recognize that we're all the same in this room. We're all the same, just different challenges. And when we become authentic and become courageous enough to open up our true selves and who we are, this bonding occurs. And so, Justin, I can't thank you more. And my talk today is on the root, the linchpin, the essential element of not only relationships, individual lives, and the teams that you coach. It is based on one thing, and one thing only. The essential element is one thing, and that is gratitude. Being grateful. It sounds so simple. We get very complacent, don't we? Oh, gee. But that is the key to every team I have coached, is to base your core value on the fact that you have the ability to be here today. So if you would, take out your little index card, and I've given you a plethora of odds and ends in there that hopefully keep you guessing. But one is just a simple index card. And all you need to do on that index card is something that I would do before every single practice of every single team. And that is have every player write down on that card, how do you feel, 1 through 10. 10 is you feel great. You feel fired up, energized, ready to go. And 1 is you just got a lot of stuff up here. You feel maybe angry or scared, anxious, down in the dumps for some reason. Somehow come up with a number right now, 1 through 10, how you feel. And would you do that now? And under that number, will you write down why you think you feel the way you feel? And now just take a second, just finish why you feel the way you feel. And then if you would, just take your right hand, place it on your heart. I guess you and I noticed something. Our heart is beating. It's like a Post-it note, like a reminder that you're alive. That you're simply here today, again. You're alive. Now, over the weekend, we had the luxury of being coached by two of the finest weapons instructors in the world. James Livingston and Robert Fisk of the Navy SEALs directed us on how to handle a weapon correctly. They gave us a lot of rules and regulations, but then they looked us square in the eye and said, don't assume. Don't you assume that gun is not loaded. Don't you point that gun at anyone or yourself. Don't make assumptions. And I'm here to say to you, don't assume that heart will beat tomorrow or a month from now. I'm not trying to be morbid or negative. I'm only saying complacency can come in, and we again can believe every day will just occur. This is a gift. Your opportunity, your effort level, your mindfulness level is based on gratitude. And I am here to sell gratitude as a power source, as a source of power that makes you not step back and wait, not reach out to others. Your level of gratitude is what drives you to be the best person you can be. Marianne Williamson said it beautifully. Our greatest fear is not that we're inadequate. Our greatest fear is that we're powerful beyond measure. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant? Who am I to change the world? Who am I to be a leader, to bring people towards the next level of their life? Well, who are you not to be? You are a hand-picked child of God. And statistically, the chances of you being here are 1 in 400 trillion. And you playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened, she said, about shrinking so that other people won't feel inferior around you. You were born to make manifest the glory of God. And when you let your own light shine, it unconsciously gives permission to others to do the same. Bringing gratitude to your teams, making it be the base of why people come into a service industry. Not losing your appreciation is the key to having a great, powerful, grateful group. The sage walked through the village. He was able to forecast the futures of all the townspeople. Everyone was enamored by his psychic strength. They ran up in hundreds to listen to what he had to say. And what he had to say was based on gratitude. He felt if you were grateful, you had no limitation. Two boys on the side saw the power of this man. They became jealous and envious and devised a plan to try to defraud him, to try to make him look like a fool. So the two boys took a butterfly in their hand. And their scheme was they'd go up to the sage, this grateful soothsayer, and say, "Sir, if you're really truthful, if you know the secrets, Is this butterfly in my hand dead or alive? And if the sage said dead, they'd open their hand and the butterfly would fly away. And if the sage said it's alive, he'd squeeze the butterfly, open his hand up, and the butterfly would be dead. Well, the next day, they raced to the village, waited until hundreds came around the sage, and then suddenly ran to the front and said, "Hold everything. This man is a phony. He's a fraud." Sage, is the butterfly in my hand alive or dead? He looked at the boys and smiled and said, "Son, the answer is in your hands. It's your choice. It always has been. We have a choice right now, right here, to recalibrate our minds and get back into a more service-oriented, a more generous and kind, a more loving, powerful mindset called gratitude. Every person you meet, be grateful that you're meeting them. Every employer that you have, send power to them by you being the model of gratitude. You and I both know anyone who's grateful, there's a symbol on their chest. Their body language changes. They come in a more confident, joyful way. They're so appreciative of this day. They're not lost in space. They're focused on the fact that they're alive. Three cowboys rode their horses into the desert. And suddenly the sun went down and it became pitch dark. Pitch dark. As they rode faster on that treadmill of life. And they rode and rode and rode. And their heads went all over in a monkey mind. Suddenly, bang, a voice came out of the sky. Get off of your horses. Get off and pick up everything you can. It will make you incredibly happy and then incredibly sad. Cowboys stopped, got off of their horses in the pitch dark, and did what they were told. They picked up everything they could and placed it in their saddlebags, wondering what would make them so incredibly happy and then incredibly sad. They got back on their horses, like most of us do, and rode and rode and rode on the treadmills of life. And then suddenly, the sun came up over the ridge, and suddenly they realized they had to get off of their horses, and they did. And they gazed in their saddlebags to see what would make them so happy and then so sad. And suddenly they realized they had emeralds and diamonds and gems. They were rich and so happy. And then suddenly they looked back into that desert and became so sad because they realized they could never go back. They could never go back to that spot again. They could never pick up anything more. Every day, pick up everything you can. At the end of today, you'll have one test and one test only. It's called the pillow test. And when you put your head on the pillow, there'll be one question. Are you glad you did, or do you wish that you had? You see, gratitude is a power source. It's not a fluffy word. It's a mindset that moves you forward, that gives you courage and kindness, that gives you determination and generosity. that makes you appreciative to simply be alive. On the back of your card, would you flip it over for a minute? And just right now, write down 3 things that you're so grateful for. 3 things in your life that you are so grateful for. Would anybody like to share one of those things that you're so grateful for? Family. What's another thing that you're so appreciative of and so grateful for in your life?
My parents.
Your parents. Beautiful. Anybody else?
Great friends.
Great friends. Great friends. Terrific. Anybody else? One thing you're grateful for. Being healthy and alive. Destin.
Same answer,
Healthy. Anything else? You see, what does this gratitude work do to us? What does it mean when suddenly we focus on what we're grateful for? Because it's impossible to be angry and grateful at the same time. Try it out. Watch sadness dissipate when you become grateful. Watch frustration melt away like a snowman on a warm day as you become grateful. You see, gratitude is a power mindset that eliminates all the things in life and, as you know, puts life back into perspective. Back in perspective. I am freaking alive today. If I told you right now that yesterday, someone you love so much in your life, think about them, when they were in the car yesterday, they narrowly escaped. The person to the right was texting. And by a split second, that person looked up and swerved back, and a person that you love so much may have been tragically injured yesterday. What happens to the things you're worried about right now? What about all those little things that are bothering you? Are they bothering you anymore? You don't need to have tragedy occur in your life, but adversity creates gratitude. Adversity builds a base. I, like many of you, are now wiser in our lives. At age 27, at age 31, all the little things bothered me. At age 65, I'm so grateful to be here with you, to have a chance to connect, to live my life fully and make a difference. And all the little things that bothered me have melted away. Your health, your happiness level, your stress level, your sleep, your level of energy are all enhanced research-wise when you start to practice gratitude. James Livingston. That's right. James Fleming said to us yesterday, he shot thousands of rounds with his gun. He is the ultimate marksman in the Navy SEALs. And when he took us out, he showed us how to shoot. Boom, 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 boom. You know how many holes were on the bullseye? One. One went through the middle, and the other three right through them. All three. Fleming looked at us and said, you know why that happened? Because I didn't turn this off. Too many technical things for me. Stop. Perfect. You know why that happened, he said? Whoa. Great thing about gratitude, right? Gratitude brings joy into your life. It's not like, oh God, I'm dead, the music isn't right. Ugh. He said, you know how that happened? One thing. Routine. Do you know that I shot thousands of rounds daily as an instructor? I had to be the model. You know how I did that? Every single solitary time. Let me repeat that, he said. Every single solitary time, I go through a routine. You know Seth Curry, the greatest foul shooter right now in the NBA, or one of the best? Routine, 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 routine. You and I have it. And sometimes we follow our routines, and sometimes we don't. You know what James would say to that? You don't follow the routine. Coach, excuse my language. He looked at us and said, you don't follow my routine? We'll fuck with you. Well, Coach, what do you... No. You pull your gun out when you're not supposed to, you're in trouble. You step up to that line and that gun is up, you're in trouble. You follow this routine. You want to be great at whatever you do, follow the routine. Even when you don't feel like doing it. The great Bobby Knight said, discipline is doing the things you don't feel like doing them all the time. Be where you're supposed to be and do what you're supposed to do. Developing a mindset of gratitude is developing a routine. A routine. A routine. Tomorrow morning when you wake up, your mind will be in monkey mind level. What do I have to do? What did I get wrong? What's going on? Bang! Routine. My daily 12, my big dozen every morning help me. And when I don't feel like it, I do it. And when I'm down in the dumps, I do it. And every day I go through this big 12. What are they? 3 of the things I'm grateful for, and 1 must be something small. You know what? I am grateful that these hands work today. I am grateful that I can walk up and down this aisle. I am grateful to be able to breathe fully today through this nostrils and mouth. I am so grateful to walk outside and be able to get into a car and have a meal. I am grateful for something small. And then, of course, I'm grateful for this opportunity and the people around me. 3 things that I'm grateful for. The next 3, what would make today, because I'm so grateful, an amazing day? Not a good day. Oh, no. My energy level's too high. Good, I'm not interested in. The status quo, yeah. What would make today an amazing day? Touching one person's life right here. Having one person be impacted by my message. Amazing. Amazing. Number 2, having you connect with each other. And because of what I'm saying, building your team a better team. That would be amazing for me. And number 3, amazing day is if I can do my best today. That's amazing. And then what are the 3 qualities that I need to have as a grateful person? When you look at me, what is my brand? What are you saying about me behind my back? That's what I want to come across as. I want to be enthusiastic. I want to be passionate. And most of all, I want to be grateful. And I want you to say, oh my God, guys, at least he's grateful. And that's what I want to be. And if I'm not every day, that's what I'll become. And then my last of the daily dozen, what are the 3 opponents that I'm going to face today? You see, I'm a coach. Hey, they're going to come off the edge. I know they are. We got to hold back that second backer and hold him in before he goes out in his route. I know they're coming at us at a 1-3-1. We got to get a guy right in the middle, 2-1-2, press breaker, down the sideline. Okay, they're coming at us. Hey guys, they're going to double steal us. Send that shortstop across the lane, pick it off, and let's go right to first. Hey, this kid's a big hitter. Here's what we can expect. This is what you and I do. We prepare for what is going to happen. And so every morning I wake up and I prepare for the three things that can keep my gratitude level down. And they are self-doubt for me. Self-doubt. I'm not good enough to be grateful and be out here. Number two, caring so much what other people think and say. And number three is I'm going to lose my level of gratitude. It's going to happen when fatigue sets in, when adversity sets in. Suddenly, my routine will go down the drain. I know that's going to happen today at 4:30 when I'm tired. And I'm going to stop. I'm going to look up in the air. I'm going to bring my hands to heart center. And I'm going to be grateful for my existence. Hey, who am I? Some 65-year-old guy that in some way trying to send a message to intelligent, bright, powerful people in a whole nother industry. And the only reason I'm here is because I've learned through challenge. It was October 30th, 1989. And I was on a whirlwind. I was teaching my 8th grade class, health class. And I was the new freshman football coach, freshman basketball coach. I had 2 beautiful children. My dad had died at age 48, and I was 9. I never had a dad. And so now I had a son. He's 4 years old, I'm a coach. You know he was a switch hitter at age 4. I had him both ways. He could dribble the ball right through his legs. I had a 2-year-old daughter. She's this big. Blonde, curly hair. And she was a dancer. She'd fly around and sing and dance. And just like all of us, I became a little bit complacent, just thinking that it was automatic. And I walked to the front of my room. I said, here it is, guys. Character. It's the ability to persist against constant opposition. It's the ability to hang in there when times are tough. Character is resiliency. It's your bounce back ability. And you have it, all of you do, even as 13-year-olds. And every time you show that character, your character muscles build and they get stronger. And then when real adversity comes, you're going to be able to handle it like a hero. And all of a sudden, it was a knock on the door. Coach, come on quick. And all of a sudden, my principal raced in and said, Jim, you got to come quick. Jody and the kids have been in a car accident. And I sprinted so fast right down the hallway. And we raced to my car. And a mile from the school, we raced up and I saw my car head on crash into another car. Now, you and I are kindred souls. And many of you have had this experience occur in your own way. It's like suddenly the universe hits you over the head with a 2x4. Suddenly, all of a sudden, you're in a different world. I'll turn that down. Well, they were carrying my son out on a stretcher. He was unconscious, and my daughter was pulled to the side. And 24 hours later, I became a Navy SEAL. 24 hours later, I walked into the intensive care unit at St. Joseph's Hospital in Paterson, New Jersey. And my son was unconscious in a coma, and my 2-year-old daughter was paralyzed from the chest down. And I wasn't a Navy SEAL, but I was forced to be a Navy SEAL. I didn't run into the gunfire, but I walked into that room, and I know many of you have been there. Randy Pausch, considered one of the greatest speakers ever, was a professor at Carnegie Mellon College. And Randy suddenly was stricken with pancreatic cancer. They asked Randy if he would give one last lecture. And if you watch it on YouTube, it'll change your life. The most important part of the lecture was this: the walls are there for a reason. The walls are not there to keep us out. The walls are there simply to find out how much you want something. Because the walls are there to stop the people that don't want it badly enough. The walls, he said, in our life, the walls we face, are there for a reason. The walls are not there to stop you, but the walls are there to simply find out how much you want it. The walls are there to stop the other people. They're not there to stop you or I. My son's heart was still beating. My daughter could feel nothing from her chest down, but her heart was beating. Gratitude. Its biggest test is during adversity. I was so grateful that day that my son and daughter were simply alive. I'm so grateful today that I'm simply alive. It's that simple. They say a genius can take a very complicated situation and make it very simple. I'm here to try to sell gratitude. Well, 2 months later, we got out of ICU, and my son came out alive. And that brought a great joy to my life. He wore a helmet and 2 braces and walked with a walker and had use of one arm. And I was so grateful that his heart was beating. My daughter came out in a wheelchair that big, with her head down and use of her arms. And I was so grateful for that. Gratitude puts life in perspective. It makes what we have enough. And like you and I, we can get caught in the whirlwind. But as leaders, I say to us, let's us lead with gratitude and make every interaction one that's led with appreciation and mindfulness and presence. Let's try to build into our people that might not understand this how grateful you are for them and how much you're willing to give to them. And make gratitude our mindset. This is a practice. It's a practice that's difficult. It's hard to get hit over the head and be grateful that you're alive. It's hard to walk out to your car and see it's been smashed in the back and be grateful that your son's still alive. But we can, and we must. The great Ronald Reagan called himself a grateful leader, so appreciative for what he had. And Reagan said he was oftentimes the most moved by a story that he told about two twins. And those two twins grew up. And ironically, they were so different. One was so negative and found fault in everything. One of the twins looked at things and always was blaming, complaining, and just didn't have an air of positivity. And the other twin, he seemed so grateful and so happy. And so the parents brought the two twins in to a therapist. And the therapist asked them questions and devised an experiment to try to find out more about them. And she created two big rooms. In one of the rooms, she put bicycles and long jump ropes and toys and balls and all kinds of fun things to do. And in the other room, she put a giant, giant pile of horse manure. And then she placed a negative little twin into that room with the toys and the balls and the bikes. And then placed that optimist, that gratitude-driven boy in that room with the horse manure. And they walked out and waited for 15 minutes. And then clipboard in hand and parents behind, they opened the door with the bicycles and toys. And there was a little boy in the corner with his head down. He said, "Son, what are you doing?" He said, "The balls are too big, and the jump rope's the wrong size, and the bicycle, the seat isn't perfect. There's nothing right here." They shook their head and walked out. And they walked into the room with the horse manure. And there was that little boy, jumping in the horse manure, throwing it up in the air, laughing and giggling, alive and joyful. And they said, "My gosh, what are you doing?" And he looked at him and said, "With all this horse manure in here, there must be a pony somewhere." And that's the way I parented, with all this horse manure that I'm faced with. There has to be a pony somewhere. And my son had one arm that worked and half a brain. His IQ was 72, and that put him in the borderline mental retardation world. But half worked, and half of his body worked. And my daughter only had half of her body working, but she had a mouth that could sing, and she had a heart that could feel. And they both, through gratitude only, through a level of simply saying thank you and looking for the pony, looking at the horse manure, and resisting the toxins of resentment and anger and envy, resisting the toxins that would drag me down. I had too big of a mission. And that was to find the pony. And so suddenly, my son took one golf club and put it into one hand. And he hit a golf ball like that. And I gratefully picked him up and walked him to the ball. And then he went like this. Boom. I picked him up again. And what I found was no one could hold me back. We could hit not 5 balls and not 35, but 55,000 balls. And my daughter could sing a song. And when she sang, she'd be happy. So we led this adversity in a real situation, not a movie, with gratitude. With gratitude for what we had and what we had been blessed with. And that the universe had chosen me to coach like you and lead his team like you. And the most important thing I could do for those kids was my gratitude, my joy. And the moment I picked up Allie and made it look like it was difficult to pick her up, I lost the game. The moment I looked at those boys playing soccer and stood there with my son and we looked out in resentment and envy, I lost the game. You see, we found the pony. And years later, Jake got to move a little bit more and became the greatest golfer, the #1 miniature golfer in the state of New Jersey. He never missed a putt. And I can still remember going to Montclair State and the teacher taking a coffee cup right down the end of the aisle and Jake being here with $100 in that cup and putted that ball and it went right in the cup. And his self-esteem started to build up. And I was the varsity basketball coach and he'd run down that court, catch that ball with one hand, fire up those threes. Because of gratitude. Because he could do that. And all of a sudden, my little daughter, her head came up. And all of a sudden, she became president of that high school. And all of a sudden, she got accepted into NYU. Whoop, not yet. It's coming. Ah, what the heck, perfect timing. My favorite song. I live by this song. Live by it. Live by this song walking into ICU. Just walk right in. You got a challenge, baby? Bring it on. Gratitude. You want to beat me up? You want to knock me down? Gratitude. Gratitude. See, I got brought up by a 44-year-old mom who lost her husband at age 48. And that lady took care of my brother and myself, and she did it with this song. I could fight too, she said. And I will fight back with gratitude. We will have the greatest life, regardless of what's happened. And that's what happened. So, my son graduated from Fairleigh Dickinson with honors. He had a 72 IQ. Every college in the nation said, "What you are asking us for, sir, is impossible. There is no way a child with a 72 IQ can go to a 4-year college. That is impossible." He graduated with Fairleigh Dickinson with honors. This past summer, he was married to a beautiful girl. The year before, he was elected as the Employee of the Year at Whole Foods. 267 employees, and one little boy with one arm and with a limited gait walked around with gratitude, not his head down, with appreciation and drive and determination, and became the Employee of the Year based on the power source called gratitude. Kelly, why don't we hit Allie's story? My daughter's story became a little bit different. No sound.
We all had people along the way in life who make a lasting impression.
Can you full page it on the right?
We all had people along the way in life who make a lasting impression. For me, one of those people was my high school basketball coach, Jim Stroker. He's coached hundreds of us teenage boys over the years and raised 3 of the most remarkable kids you'll ever meet. One of them is 28-year-old Allie Stroker, who's overcome the trauma that shook our New Jersey town. And now I'm proud to say She's making Broadway history. I've known Ally Stroker for most of her life, but I've never seen her quite like this. Hi, superstar. How are you? Ally is the first person in a wheelchair ever to star on Broadway. First of all, I'm so incredibly proud of you. When I walked down that aisle, and there's little Ally Stroker, who I've known since she was 0 up on the stage. What's it like for you to look out at Full House on Broadway?
It's amazing. It's a dream.
When Ally was just 2 years old, a car accident in her hometown of Ridgewood, New Jersey, left her paralyzed, and her older brother Jake with permanent injuries. As the town rallied around Jake and Ally, I was lucky enough to watch them up close. Their dad was my coach, Coach Stroker. In our basketball practice, you were 5 years old, your brother Jake was 7. Jake had to shoot his drills. Jake had to run his sprint. You were doing your sprints as well. So clearly, you grew up in a house where your parents said, hey, shoot big.
Exactly. And I'm so thankful for that because I think having a disability is an interesting mind game because the world can tell you no. But my parents didn't do that. We weren't going to talk much about the fact that I could play soccer or I could sing.
Ally plays Anna in the revival of Spring Awakening, and she's not the only marvel on stage. The play is produced by Deaf West Theater. Many of the actors are deaf, and the entire show is done in sign language, which Ally had to learn.
The deaf actors are really special to me, and I feel like I found people that are like just doing things differently and not like worried about what they can't do.
Right.
It's like an amazing collaboration between you and me.
Being handicapped situation when you're young, you sort of get good at like, rallying and becoming the sunshine of everything. But, at the same time, there were some really tough moments and feeling different and feeling excluded and just wanting to be like everyone else so badly for so long. And then, every day, hearing at home, you are the greatest girl in the world. My dad has told me since I was a kid that I was a superstar. And then you start to believe it. Speaking of the devil.
I didn't use this when I was playing, right? I always knew she was a superstar, right? Tell me about Dad and Motion when you're out in that audience.
Sit out there and just think of the journey as I always wanted to be part of a miracle, to feel a miracle really happen. And that's what it is. It's one of those, as a dad, you could die tomorrow and everything's okay.
We were talking about in the early years when I was on your team. In fact, we have a team photograph where there's now in your chair, and Jake is standing next to me, and we're holding hands, and I had him in my house. I just remember so vividly the expectations you had for your children, and they weren't going to be different from other kids.
My mindset was the same. We're not getting the beat. We were going to find a way to turn this thing upside down.
Watching you with Jake and Ally and storing that away somewhere, and now that I'm a parent, I owe you something because I watched that unconditional love and the expectations you had for your kids. So I thank you for that. What a great model.
Well, thank you, and you guys get to watch this.
That is a remarkable family. I can tell you, you can see Spring Awakening on Broadway now through January. You will love it. Trust me, and you will love Ally Stroker.
So again, it's a just fortunate story that occurred because of other people. I had a gratitude base as a leader, but really, if the truth be known, and I think, I believe that Bob and Mike would agree with this, miracles occur when teams gather together. You see, courage is a big word, but courage occurs when you know you've got a safety net behind you, when you have got people And when I became fatigued, someone, a soulmate, showed up and helped out, jumped in. When things got tough, people. And so movements occur by people like you who gather others with a mission. And the mission's not small. The mission has one message. And I need a volunteer for that message. Can I get anyone that would volunteer for this giant, anybody thinks, oh, great, okay, thank you so much. And this is it Trina? So Trina, all you have to do, Trina, is pick one of the envelopes. And Trina, the only thing I will tell you is that one of the envelopes has twice the amount of money as the other. Let me repeat that, Trina. One of the envelopes, like you're in third grade, repeat that. One of the envelopes has twice the amount of money as the other. So Trina, would you come on up? And Trina, would you choose, now I want your intuition to feel which one you should pick. Okay, Trina, will you face the audience and then simply open it up? $20. Great job. Trina, nice round. Very nice, Trina. Okay, no. Time out, my friend. Don't be running anywhere. All right, Trina, let's review. 2 envelopes, Trina. Tell me what is the difference in the envelopes?
There's one that has twice as much money.
Okay, so here's your other envelope. Trina, what is in this envelope? This is an addition problem or math problem. Either what? That is 20, so this would be?
Well, it could be less or it could be more.
It could be 40 or 10. But, Trina, there's only one choice in our life, right? There's only one choice for you and I. We have what we have. Trina's got $20. That's who she is. Now comes the question. Are you going to play it safe or go for it? Are you going to play it safe and be who you are? Go back into your regular treadmill? Or are you going to go for it? Based on gratitude, based on appreciation and energy and positivity, Trina, go for it or play it safe?
Yes, I'm opening it up.
Wow. Number 4 hitter from my team.
I have nothing to lose.
Oh, I love that statement.
Oh, man. Woo.
All right, so $40. Great
Okay,
job,
last-
Trina. All right, good job. So, you know, the greatest coach I ever had, he just said one thing all the time to me. He said, look, there's only one question. You going to go all out or go hold back? You going to go all out with your life or are you going to hold back? And to me, the only thing that holds me back is this. I don't know about you. I mean, quite frankly, in our premises, Mike and Robert, Bob, were here yesterday. In our premises are 2 young men who have done things that we could only even imagine, even thinking about doing. But the greatest thing they do for us, I love Tomahawk Solutions. I love the fact that their main mission is one of service and gratitude. But I'm just a little selfish. I love them. I love what they stand for. They look out at us without opening their mouths and say, nothing is impossible for you and I or anyone. They're not genetically predisposed to be supermen. They're regular guys just like you or I, who have chosen to go for it in their life. I'm not saying join the Navy SEALs. I'm saying raise up your expectations, question your assumptions, and decide that this, one more time, what is possible? Muhammad Ali put it so succinctly. Impossible is just a big word, he said, thrown around by very small people who find it easier to settle into the world they've been given rather than explore the possibility of change. Ali said, impossible is not a fact, it's an opinion. Impossible is not a declaration. And then he said it to you and I. Impossible is a dare. Impossible is nothing. These two young men walk in and without saying a word tell us impossible is nothing with our lives. And as chosen leaders, you chose it. You knew that you wanted to lead others. That's why you chose this position. That's why you're here. You decided that you needed to get better this weekend. You're a leader. But as a leader, it puts a little more onus on you to lead by example. In 1997, Apple Computer came out with their most powerful advertisement. And it was simply labeled, "Think Different." And the ad said this: here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the ones who see things differently. They're not fond of rules and have no respect for the status quo. You can quote them, disagree with them, glorify or vilify them. The only thing you can't do is ignore them, because they move the human race forward. And then pictures of Gandhi, Muhammad Ali, Amelia Earhart, pictures of all these leaders who have gone outside of the box. All of these women who have bridged gaps. These men who have said, I will lead this organization with gratitude. And I don't care if it isn't status quo, I will be the one who does it. Apple then said, some people see them as the crazy ones. We see them as genius. Because anyone who's crazy enough to believe they can change the world, those are the ones who do. You see, those SEALs believe they can do things that normal people can't. And they do. And they tell us to raise our standards. They tell us to question our assumptions. What you believe you can do, Bob would tell us, 10 times it. Because if there's a big enough reason why, you'll always find the how. And those SEALs will tell you they'll run into firefights and risk their life for one reason. Because the person they're risking their life for would do the same for them. You see, gratitude is all about serving others. Gratitude is risking your position for others. It's sacrificing your own needs for others. It's you putting yourself on the line because of what you're willing to do. You see, you can't hide that, can you? You've met those people. When you talk to them, they feel like they're totally grateful for your presence. When they ask you a question, they want to know the answer. When they meet you and shake you in hand and look you in the eye, they're telling you that they're part of your world. When it's all about others and gratitude is your base, nothing is impossible. You know, I, again, have spent no time working in any of casinos. However, I have coached loads of teams. And the part that gets me the most fired up is this. The great Urban Meyer, head coach of Ohio State, was schooled by leadership guru Tom Kite, Focus 3. And Focus 3 created a line. And in every one of the Ohio State locker rooms, and now in many professional locker rooms, you're going to see this line. And the line is simply there to create a visual of above the line and below the line. And as a coach, my job is to bring as many of my people above that line as I can. You see, below the line is blaming, complaining, becoming defensive, old habits, not our best self. But above the line behavior, you can spot it. I walked into my room last night at Viejas, and for the third time in a day, there were chocolates there, and pillows were fixed. I walked downstairs and walked up to get a seltzer and lime, and that bartender greeted me with a giant smile. You see, they live by the DMTE motto. They live by doing more than what's expected. You see, above the line behavior is behavior driven by gratitude, by effort. You see, my players better run onto the field with a big smile on their face and not drag onto the field like it's just another practice. My players better warm up like it's the last game they're going to play and not float around to get ready for the game. You see, I don't know about you, but I want to dominate the day, every day. And my routine in the morning is based on gratitude and building energy. I want this to be a message to everyone who's underneath me, that I am willing to do anything for you. But first of all, I will be the model of I want you to be. You must buy into gratitude. You must be the one who chooses to lead by example. In your workplace, I just want you to see everyone walking around with a bucket. I want you to picture everyone you see with a bucket, and they're just walking around. And all I want you to do is recognize if their bucket's not filled, their head will be down. If they're not running onto the field or into your workplace, their bucket is empty. But we as leaders can be bucket fillers. Tom Rath, in his book, How Full Is Your Bucket?, recognized everyone with a bucket. And I can fill your bucket right now with simply a smile and a little pat on the back and said, go get them. Or conversely, I can take from your bucket with a wise guy statement, with a put down acknowledgement, opposite of being grateful. Fill buckets and have your people recognize that it's their job to fill every customer's bucket. Everyone who walks in and meets you should feel better because of your presence. I only want to have one thing, have you feel better about yourself when you're around me. I want you to walk away and not feel good about me. I want you to feel good about you. That's my job as a leader. In your note, in your cards, I've placed a thank you note. There is nothing more powerful in the world of emails and texts to do what my mentor, Justin O'Connor, does on a regular basis. The power of the handwritten note. The power of telling someone you care about how much you admire and respect them. How much that little thing they did yesterday meant to you. We don't have time in our daily life to do the little things unless we are models of gratitude. The trust circle. Creating your groups. My closest friend is one of the biggest leadership positions at Bain Capital. 2 weeks ago, he went on a retreat, and they did loads of trust-building activities, blindfolds, and working together. But one activity, he said, Coach, is a game changer. Only one. Gather your gang. Gather your tribe. Gather your small groups and circles. Put them together. And just have them reveal who they truly are and what they've gone through in their life. Let them be authentic amongst their brothers. Let them tell each other how they had a hard time growing up, how they went through an abusive childhood, how they almost flunked out of school, how they got involved with drugs and alcohol. Let them be authentic amongst each other. And those trust circles can build camaraderie so we become brothers. I spent the other night downstairs with my friend Destin. He told me about the challenges he's gone through, about the toughness that he was dealt in his life. And we're locked because he revealed that to me. Create those circles. And then finally, the power of visible recognition. In all of my teams, everything is up on the board. You walk into Coach's room, his office, you're going to see signs of gratitude. You're going to see messages of billboards all the time because you're like I am. Complacency can sink in. We can forget. We can get caught up in a myriad of little things that in the big picture mean nothing to the fact that we can breathe and our heart is there. So just close your eyes for a minute as we finish. And you and I have been placed here today for a reason. Everything in our life happens for a reason. And I'm here today to try to recalibrate, reconnect, and get your base back in line. Gratitude is a power source. Every great team, every great family, every great individual has built their life on a level of appreciation and gratitude. The great Stephen Covey says, begin with the end in mind. With your eyes closed, walk into your funeral. Your eulogy is being read. Who were you while you were on this earth? What did you stand for? What was your brand? This is game time. You decided to go for it because of a gratitude level. your heart is beating today one more day. The greatest boxing trainer in boxing history, Cus D'Amato, trained thousands of great boxers. And he said before each fight, he would gaze his fighter in the eye and say one thing: son, the coward and the hero feel exactly the same before their battle. The coward and the hero feel exactly the same. But the coward freezes. The coward makes excuses. The coward blames. And the hero moves forward. It is our job as leaders to move forward in the face of fear and bring gratitude back to our lives as well as our workplace. And when the game is over, when your eulogy is being written, you'll stand for one thing: he or she appreciated their life fully, and they have no regrets. You can open your eyes, and I can't thank you enough for giving me this hour, giving me an opportunity to share one person's story. But as I get to the end of my life, in the last quarter, my wisdom has gotten very simple. It's not complicated. It's one thing: be grateful for your life. Be appreciative. And give to others. There's only one thing you want to be, and that's generous. And that's based on gratitude. So I thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. And I hope you have a grateful rest of the day and life. In yoga, we say namaste. And namaste simply means I bow to the light in you that shines. And every time you deliver from now on a word and message of gratitude, I thank you for doing that. Have a great day, and namaste. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, Coach.